My beloved child, before your mind tries to analyze or explain anything, I want you to know that this moment is not a random interruption squeezed into your already crowded and weary life. The moment you see these words is not an accident of the world, but the result of an orchestration drawn from the unseen realm, from the dimension where I measure every heartbeat of your soul. There have been days when you felt as though you were drifting through uncertainty, as if all your efforts were looping in the same pattern with no way out. But in the deepest place of the spiritual realm, I have seen every strained breath, every time you fought to stay composed while tears threatened to spill, every night you turned your face into the dark and wondered if anyone remembered you at all. And today, the things you believed were buried under quiet ashes are precisely the evidence that moved me to take full authority over this moment and call you back near to me. You do not realize how, all this time, angels have been standing guard beside you not only to protect, but to shine light into the hours when your soul nearly went dim. I saw you place your hand over your chest, trying to keep yourself from breaking in front of others. I watched every step you took through the long days no one understood, when you still had to smile while your inner strength was collapsing. How many times you thought I was too far, too silent, too faint compared to the noise of circumstances and the fear surrounding you. And yet I have never tested you by withdrawing myself. I have only been leading you into another depth, where faith no longer depends on fleeting emotion, but anchors itself in my eternal presence. If you knew how many hosts of heaven I stationed around you during those quiet nights that seemed useless, you would never again believe you were alone. This moment, my child, is a moment I have marked, not with the roar of thunder, not with a blazing vision that overwhelms you, but with the quiet intersection between my whisper and your soul opening gently. Long ago, I waited for a time when the cracked surface of your heart would be soft enough to receive the truth that you were never abandoned, that you were never the forgotten child lost at life's crossroads. I did not send you a vague invitation. I sent you a seal of intervention that will begin from the deepest part of the heavenly realm. I know you have encountered too many empty promises, heard too many hollow invitations, and seen too many things cloaked as miracles that were merely the subtle manipulations of a world eager to exploit your desperation. I have heard the whispers urging you to believe in instant life-changing secrets, in 3-second rituals dressed in mystique to deceive wounded hearts longing for transformation. I know you have seen those lightning-fast offerings, things that promise to unlock dreams with one simple action: erase worries and turn a heavy life into a triumphant leap. But I speak to you plainly, that is not light. They are illusions born of greed and fear, noisy distractions covering the fragility of humans. They cannot heal your wounds, cannot rescue you from the pressure draining your strength, cannot touch the deepest place where your soul has been groaning. Only I, the one who crafted every stream of life within you, can lift you with a power that needs no display, no embellishment, no boasting. My child, I come to show you how to distinguish the real from the false, the movement of heaven from the echo of the world. True miracles do not take shortcuts, do not sell you cheap abundance, do not lead you into fantasies that fade like mist. My true miracle is a steady flow, a deep saturation, a transformation at the roots that shifts you from living by fear to standing with the clarity of one who is loved, known, and called by name. Those instant wonders you hear outside promise you results, but do not heal the wound beneath. They promise you brilliance, but leave your heart empty. They promise wealth, but ignore the truth that what you lack most is not money, but refuge in an unchanging love. And now, in this very moment, while your soul trembles slightly because you cannot quite explain what is happening. I want you to understand I do not appear to demand anything from you or to burden you. I come to affirm something the Father has never withdrawn. You still belong to me. From the moment you read the first line, I placed my hand upon the space surrounding you not to frighten you, but to open a new horizon, a place where you can see yourself more clearly, not through the lens of disappointment, but through the loving gaze of the one who formed you. How many times you tried to lift yourself by your own strength, tried to keep smiling for people who never heard the cracking beneath the ashes of your heart. How many times you hoped for something good only to feel it vanish like foam. You thought I was silent when you cried out. You assumed I did not care when you felt drained. But I tell you truthfully, not a single tear of yours fell without heaven recording it. Not a single sigh dissolved into the air without me drawing near. You could not see, because you were hurting, but I was healing you in the depths you did not recognize. You have walked through barren places, places where no one heard you, where you endured suffocating loneliness. Yet it was precisely there that I planted in you what no school could ever teach, the resilience of one who has been thrown into ashes, yet still believes a heavenly hand can lift them up. Not a bitter resilience, but a resilience that knows you are not fighting alone. You do not realize that during the darkest months, I placed seeds in your heart, seeds I am now preparing to bring to life, seeds of clarity, of deeper faith, of steadiness you never had before. My beloved child, this moment is not merely the moment in which I speak, it is the moment in which I clear the way. It is not you who must run after me. It is I who am drawing near to you. When you feel you have nothing left to offer, I am the one who sees within you a heart that has not given up. When you feel too tired to listen, I know that even a single gentle word is enough for your soul to respond. And because you have not silenced your cry, whether in tension, in silence, or in despair, I now come to say to you, you are not forgotten. Your appointed time is not misplaced. Your cries have not fallen into the void. And I want you to understand this with complete peace. You do not enter this moment with the burden of wondering whether you are worthy enough. All I desire from you is a small open space inside your heart for my light to touch. You do not need to come prepared, perfected, or self-repaired before approaching me. You only need to breathe and let your heart open, for I myself will do the rest. My child, this is not comfort spoken to soothe momentary emotion. This is the word of the one who has seen the entirety of your story from the beginning. I know the chapter you are in. I know how many dark passages you have walked through. I know exactly what I am preparing to write next. And what I write is never a replica of the old season. It is always something new, something fresh, something sealed by my power. You are standing before a moment in which the gates of heaven open quietly yet powerfully. All I need is for you not to turn away from what I am speaking to you. This is the time when I place my hand upon your circumstances, not through cheap miracles, but through true intervention that changes the foundations of your life. You cannot see all of it now, but you will see each part unfold, not hurriedly, not chaotically, but steadily and full of purpose. And I declare to you, my child, this is the time I call your name, not to frighten you, but to restore you, not to demand from you, but to give to you, not to pull you up in haste, but to establish you through every step I lead. This moment, my child, is the beginning, my beloved one. For a very long time, in the moments you thought you were speaking only to the emptiness, you were actually standing at the intersection of a quiet, heavenly movement. Not every silence is emptiness. Sometimes silence is the veil that hides a transformation shaping destiny from beneath. And what I want to speak to you now is this: you have arrived at the threshold of a shift no earthly power can hinder. For it was not you who chose this moment, it was I who chose it. My child, I have followed every rhythm of transformation within you throughout these months. Every step you have taken, whether slow or trembling, heavy or exhausted, has never been forgotten. There were mornings when you woke with a vague sense that your life felt tight, as though there was no room left to breathe. There were nights you lay down with a sadness even you could not name. But I saw it all. I saw the moments you held back your sobs so no one would worry. The moments you forced a smile to protect another's peace. The moments you chose silence, even though your heart was full of aching questions. In all of these, I was not a distant observer. I stood right beside you, my hand resting on your shoulder even when you could not perceive it. And because I have seen everything, I waited for a moment when your heart would be soft enough to hear the truth, yet strong enough to step into something new. If I had come earlier, you would not have received it. If I had come later, the wounds inside you would have hardened into patterns too deep to unbind. But right now, this very now, your spirit is touching the intersection between brokenness and longing, between weariness and hope, between old pain and a new calling. This is the rare moment in which your heart is both fragile and ready, trembling yet hungry. And it is precisely because of this alignment that I have sealed this moment of intervention. You have walked through places others dismissed as minor setbacks, yet those places carved deep wounds within you. There were times you poured your trust into those who seemed destined to walk with you, only to be met with cold silence or cutting words that forced you to shrink yourself. There were days you chased dreams with all your strength, only for your hands to grasp nothing but wind. There were nights you prayed in a dark room, not asking for solutions anymore, but simply yearning not to feel invisible. I know all of these because I stood at the very center of each moment. When I declare, this is your time, it is not to soothe a feeling. It is the affirmation of a God who sees the end, even while you stand at the entrance. This moment was written long before you were born, before the world took shape, before your first breath filled your lungs. In the design of heaven, nothing that belongs to you is ever lost, only appointed, and the appointed time is opening now. I know you sometimes doubt your own discernment. You wonder whether the gentle stirring in your heart is my voice or merely your desire. You wonder whether the recent coincidences are signs or just illusions of hope. You hesitate to believe in good things because disappointment has come too many times. But my child, there are signs that do not come from emotion or imagination. They come from the movement of heaven. When you feel yourself being pulled away from old fears, when you sense that fear no longer controls you as it once did, when you feel peace rising from a place you cannot explain, that is not an illusion. That is me opening the way. Your intuition is nothing like the painted promises you see in the world. You have watched people build 3-second rituals, instant life hacks, and so-called secrets from hidden orders, convincing the weary that prosperity can come from a click or a meaningless trick. They prey on longing souls, stitching illusion to hope. But I, the one who formed heaven and earth, have never used deception to draw anyone. I do not need theatrics to make you believe. My miracles do not need sensational packaging. My power is not a commodity that must be purchased before it expires. I do not invite you into a race to catch a miracle. I invite you into a relationship. I do not give you empty formulas. I give you myself. And my presence, not any mystical technique, is what moves mountains, parts seas, and revives the exhausted heart. Remember this: I have never called a soul by triggering the fear of missing out. I call only by love, and that love never pressures, never rushes. It simply knocks gently, yet deep enough to transform. If your soul trembles when you hear my words, it is not because I force you, it is because the deepest part of you recognizes the one who made you. My child, in this hour, the atmosphere around you is shifting in ways you cannot see. I am dispatching angels to places you would not imagine. They are repositioning what was tangled, loosening knots you have struggled with for years, redirecting paths you believed were hopeless. You do not need your eyes to see, you only need your heart to receive. What I am doing for you does not come from chance, from cosmic luck, or from the mysterious energies the world glamorizes. It comes from me, the one who governs time, space, and destiny. I am not asking you to prove your faith with long prayers or grand gestures. I only ask that you keep opening your heart with sincerity. You do not realize that every time you whisper, "Lord, please help me," even faintly, even trembling, it creates a ripple that reaches heaven. You think that tiny prayer dissolves into the air, but each one is preserved in my hands like a precious gem. Not one word of yours is lost. They all shape what I am doing for you now. My intervention does not resemble the quick escapes you search for. My intervention does not come wrapped in extravagance, or impulse-driven promises, or dramatic spectacle. My intervention is like morning light slipping through mist, gentle, yet marking the arrival of a new day. Nothing can stop. My voice is not loud, yet it resounds within you like water touching stone, steady and unyielding. I do not send a roaring wind to topple everything. I send a soft breeze that causes the old and brittle to release its grip from your life. And now, as you listen to these words slowly, quietly, something extraordinary is happening. You are being pulled out of the dimension of fear and into the dimension of confirmation. This is not imagination. This is not self-comfort. This is me touching the frequency of your soul. My child, I speak to you, the intervention has begun. My beloved one, I want to lift your vision so you can see more clearly what is happening around you, within you, and for you. You are not merely standing at the edge of change. You are standing at the center of a spiritual movement no human eye can measure. There are things I am doing in the hidden places so that when dawn comes, you will say nothing except, "Only God could have done this." And even now, in this very moment, invisible waves are moving in your favor. For I have commanded heaven to respond according to what you have sown in silence. My child, I have sent angels to stand at the crossroads of your life, the places you are about to step into, the territories that once seemed closed, the doors you knocked on but no one answered. My angels do not come to make noise, they come to clear the path. They are shifting obstacles you have grown weary of pushing against, turning the doors your strength could not move, and reshaping the atmosphere in places where you once felt only fatigue. You cannot see them with your eyes, but your soul will begin to sense the changes, like underground waters rising to push life up through the soil. You will feel lighter not because your circumstances change all at once, but because I am removing the invisible burdens you have long mistaken as part of yourself. I am peeling away layers of anxiety you learned to wear like armor, lifting fragments of sorrow you believed would never leave, loosening the memories that formed knots and kept your heart tense. I do not do this with explosive force. I do it with the tenderness of the one who knows precisely which place within you aches the most and must be healed first. Because I know I come at the exact moment when you are both weary and open, wounded yet longing for what is true. My child, Fear has long attempted to build a kingdom within you, a kingdom that made you believe good things were not meant for you, that your prayers were too small to be heard, that your future was sealed, shut by past failures. But I declare to you, the power of fear has just been stripped away. It no longer has a voice to direct your steps. It no longer has the authority to define you. It no longer sits on the throne of your mind. At the very moment I draw you into this divine moment, fear is forced to depart. For my light has entered the place where it once hid. You do not realize that some fears were never born from within you. They were dark breaths attempting to blanket your soul so you would not dare believe, not dare move forward, not dare receive the blessing that was always yours. But I have issued the eviction order. When I arrive, no darkness is permitted to remain. And you will soon notice that what once made you tremble now becomes light as morning mist under the rising sun. This is not the strength of your own spirit. This is my power. I know there are things you've read in the world that confuse you. Some speak of strange techniques, of secret rituals, of methods promising to change everything in seconds. You see them wrap these things in urgency and mystique, as if heaven is so desperate that it must use gimmicks to gain attention. But I tell you truthfully, my kingdom does not operate through deception. I do not entice desperate souls with promises of instant wealth. I do not sell life-changing formulas like merchandise. I am the one who establishes every good thing on truth, not illusion. I know you are exhausted by half-truths, pretty promises void of life, and so-called miracles that stir your longing but never heal your wound. But I did not come to add to those voices. I came to erase them from your life. I came to remind you that true miracles require no display. True miracles are not lanterns held high to attract attention. They are the quiet flame I breathe into your heart, growing steadily as you walk in obedience. True miracles are not sudden leaps. They are journeys guarded by my hand. And that journey will make you grateful you never took shortcuts. In the days ahead, you will begin to sense gentle but unmistakable signals, not dramatic shocks, but subtle shifts like spring arriving before flowers bloom. When the soil begins to stir with hidden life, you will feel your heart less heavy, your thoughts less burdened, your breath deeper, your sleep calmer. These are the signs that I am rearranging everything from within you. I do not build miracles from the outside first. I build miracles from your soul outward. For I know a healed soul can receive what a weary soul would drop. My angels now stand in the very places where you were hurt. They are not merely guarding, they are reclaiming what was lost, closing doors that no longer align with your path, and opening doors you no longer dared to knock on. And I want you to know it is not by coincidence that you feel something is approaching. It is your soul syncing with the footsteps of angels. It is not by chance that new ideas, opportunities, or connections seem to draw near. This is because I am breathing life into the places that were once barren. You are walking through a moment where heaven and earth intersect in your life. I do not ask you to force yourself to feel anything, nor do I demand that you prove faith through heightened emotion. All I ask is sincerity and stillness. What I am doing is not dependent on your sensitivity. It is rooted in my love. And now, my child, I want you to understand this when I act. Nothing stays still. Not pain, not lacking, not darkness, not the words that once made you shrink. When I come, everything must move, must yield, must realign according to my design. You think you are small. You do not know that every time I speak your name, the heavens tremble. You think your prayers are weak. You do not know that every prayer sends angelic armies into motion. You think your life is too tangled. You do not know that I have seen the completed version of you since the beginning, and I am guiding you back into that very shape. My child, the intervention has begun. Not a loud intervention, but an intervention clothed in authority. Not a vague intervention, but an intervention bearing your name. Not a temporary intervention, but one capable of reshaping the entire chapter of your life now being written. I declare what I open, no one can close. What I bless, no one can reverse. What I rebuild will not be destroyed again. This is the moment. This is the seal. This is the beginning, my beloved one. For many years, you have faced things far beyond what your strength could sustain, not only the visible challenges others could see, but the silent battles in your mind. The ones, even those closest to you, could not understand. You have endured cutting words, emotional blows from those who once promised to stay, cold gazes that made you question your worth, and there were nights you asked, why must I face this alone? Why am I always the one who hurts the deepest but my child? From the heavenly realm, I have seen the whole story. You have never fought alone. I was there, right at the very center of each breaking point. When someone turned their back and walked away from you, I stepped forward to fill the gap. When a cruel word pierced your heart, I gathered up every fragment of confidence you dropped. When you sat alone in a quiet room and the sting of betrayal twisted inside you like a blade, I stood so close that with a single exhale I could feel every trembling beat. You thought I was silent. No, I was watching every move, every word, every thought of those who hurt you. Not a single thing escaped me. There are situations you assumed I left untouched, but in truth, I have only been preparing a process far more righteous than you imagine. I do not rush to retaliate the way the world does. I do not judge from emotion. I wait for the appointed time of truth, the time when every secret must be exposed, when every wrong word must be corrected, when your honor must be restored without a single piece missing. In the spiritual realm, there is a court where I sit as judge, and in that court you are not on trial as you fear. You are the one being defended. My child, there were times you thought I had covered my ears to your injustice, but I heard every word you sighed when you did not dare speak of your real pain. I saw the moments you smiled to keep the peace while everything inside you was collapsing. I witnessed the situations that forced you to pretend you were fine so others would not feel uncomfortable. You thought I did not know I know it all, and I will never let those things pass by without meaning. When someone treats you badly and still appears unbothered, you think they have gotten away with it. But in the spiritual realm, nothing escapes my hand. I do not take revenge as humans do, but I orchestrate circumstances that lead each person to face the fruit of their own actions. And as for you, I will not allow you to be buried under injustice. I will restore your honor in a way no one expects, not so you can retaliate, but so you will know I always stand on the side of the upright in heart. Some think your love is weakness. Your kindness is naivete. Your patience is passivity. But they do not know that every time you choose what is good instead of striking back, I record it as powerful evidence in your defense. You have won far more battles than you realize, not because you were clever enough, but because I stood in the unseen, shielding you from things that could have crushed you. Those who stabbed you in the back assume you are unaware. You do not need to know. I know. I saw them smile to your face while harboring ill intent in their hearts. I saw them speak well of you in public yet mock you in private. I watched every nod, every frown, every whispered remark that wounded you. You may feel life is unfair, but I assure you, I will not allow injustice to become your destiny. The more you choose silence when you are hurt, the more heaven records it. The more you step back when you could have struck back, the closer my angels stand. The more you guard your heart's purity in the midst of wrongdoing, the more I rise on your behalf in the unseen realm. I will never let a single act of goodness from you vanish into nothing, and I will never let a single pain of yours be forgotten in the void. You ask me, why did that person do this to me? Why did that relationship break? But my child, sometimes I must allow someone to walk away so you will not be harmed any further. Sometimes I let you be pushed out of what you thought was home so I can lead you to a place healthier, wider, and more worthy of your heart. Sometimes I allow you to feel rejected, not because you lack value, but because I will not let you bind your soul to something that does not belong to your next season. You think that those who leave are a loss, but in truth, they are part of the arrangement, protecting your future. You think a closed door is a failure, but in reality, it is a shield blocking a path full of snares. You think a refusal is humiliation, but in truth, it is a separation so you can meet what is better, truer, and more enduring. You do not realize that if I permit something to fall from your hand, it means I have prepared something better for your heart. Your future is not being stolen, I am preserving it. You are not defined by what people do to you. You are shaped by what I do for you. What they do can only touch the outside. What I do reaches the very roots of your soul. They may mock you, but I am the one who decides where you stand. They may belittle your words, but I place holy weight on your prayers. They may temporarily tear down what you built, but I am the one who rebuilds on foundations that cannot be shaken. At this time, I am standing in the midst of the battle for you, not with sword and spear, but with authority that surpasses every earthly rule. I am reversing false words, silencing hostile voices, reclaiming what has been stolen from your soul. And I declare no weapon formed against you will prosper. No scheme plotted against you will reach its full success. No malicious word spoken over you will stand before me. I ask you to hear this with your whole soul. You no longer have to defend yourself. I will defend you. You no longer have to prove your worth. I will prove it on your behalf. You no longer have to chase human approval. I will place you where your presence is truly needed. You have endured more faithfully than you think. You have been stronger than you realize. And now, I will fight for you. My beloved child, when I say I fight for you, it is not a metaphor designed merely to comfort you. It is a spiritual reality at work even now. In the days you felt disadvantaged, overlooked, and made into a victim of twisted stories, I stood in a court your natural eyes cannot see, and in that court, you are not the accused. You are the one being protected. There, every whisper that wounded you is brought into the light. Every seemingly polite gesture that concealed jealousy is exposed. Every action you thought surely no one will ever know is recorded by me with perfect accuracy. You have been hurt in silence, but I am advocating for you in power. There were nights when you tried to soothe your heart by saying, "It's fine. I'll just let it go," while inside the wound refused to let go of you. You kept quiet because you were afraid of stirring trouble. You acted normal because you were afraid of making others uncomfortable. You carried the pain alone because you believed no one would understand. But my child, I understand more deeply than you can imagine. I understand every feeling you hid behind a forced smile. I understand every surge of anguish when you saw injustice and heard no defending voice. I understand every moment you looked into the mirror and silently questioned whether you were truly worth good treatment. None of these moments have been wasted. They are the very evidence I use in the courts of heaven to proclaim that you deserve restoration. My child, Some have judged you not according to truth, but according to their own fears and limitations. They treated you through the lens of the narratives they constructed in their minds. They placed labels on you that do not reflect who you truly are. And at times those false words have made you doubt yourself. But I say to you, no one has the right to define your worth except me. They may think they know you, but I am the one who sees everything within you, what you show and what you hide. And I see in you a value no person and no circumstance can extinguish. There were seasons when you believed those untrue words for so long that they became an echo inside you. You began to accept that you were not good enough, unimportant, easily replaceable. But those labels do not belong to you. They are the projection of unhealed hearts casting their distorted image onto you. I will not allow those things to hold you any longer. I am uprooting them piece by piece, layer by layer, like a patient gardener, pulling out every poisonous root from a precious field. And when I uproot, I also sow. I sow the truth that you are loved, even when no one says it aloud. I sow the truth that you are valuable, even when others forget to honor you. I sow the truth that you are chosen, even when you feel abandoned. These are not theories. They are becoming the new reality within your soul. I know there are relationships you tend with all your heart, only to watch them dissolve before your eyes. You blamed yourself, believing you were not good enough to make them stay. But you do not know that sometimes I must separate you from those who lack the capacity to appreciate you, not to punish, but to protect you from deeper wounds. I never allow a connection to be severed without righteous reason. There are people you wished would remain, yet I compelled them to leave because they carried a burden, not life. There are doors you wanted to enter, and I locked them because behind them lay nothing but depletion. There were places you longed to walk into, and I stopped you because I knew those grounds would wound your soul. I have seen you kneel, pleading to keep something that I knew would only break you further. I saw the truth you could not see. I saw what was hidden beneath gentle words. I saw the motives buried under seemingly kind actions. And because I am your protector, I decisively pulled you away from what did not belong to you. You will understand this more clearly as you witness the restoration I am about to pour out. In the days to come, you will see that those who are genuine toward you are drawing nearer, that sacred connections are beginning to appear, and that small encounters filled with divine direction are happening with the smoothness of flowing water. Not by chance, not by coincidence. This is heaven's orchestration. I do not simply protect you from what is harmful. I protect you from what seems good but is not fitting for you. There are opportunities you longed for that I did not open, not because you were unworthy, but because I wanted you to have something better, truer, and aligned with the right time. Not every invitation will elevate you. Not every golden door leads to true glory. Some things appear beautiful, but quietly damage the soul. I will not let that happen to you. You once asked why I did not open the doors you wanted, but if you saw what lay behind them, you would thank me for my silence. You thought I was slow, but I was guiding your hand toward a path only the future can reveal, as my wisdom. My child, I am restoring your honor, not by inflating it, but by placing you where you belong. I am bringing you out of small conversations that once bruised your spirit into dialogues of true influence. I am pulling you from hands that do not know how to value you into environments that can uphold and strengthen you. I am moving you from rooms filled with comparison into spaces where you can breathe freely. I will cause those who once dismissed you to witness what happens when I lift you, not to shame them, but to show them that I never abandoned you. I will cause everything misunderstood about you to become clear. I will cause every false word spoken about you to collapse beneath the weight of the truth I establish. I will cause those who misjudged you to face a reality completely opposite of what they assumed. My beloved one, I want to draw your heart closer so you may recognize that in the spiritual realm there is a quiet yet powerful reversal unfolding on your behalf, a movement not born of randomness or luck, but initiated the moment I declared that you had endured enough of what you needed to learn, that your wound had reached the point where healing must begin, that your dignity could not be pressed down one more second. You do not know that every step you took, every word you endured, every tear you believed unseen has been kept by me as evidence in the courts of heaven. I have not been distant. I have been in the center of these moments, observing every glance that made you shrink, every word that pierced your soul, every whispered conversation that you were never meant to hear. I gather all these things not to feed anger, but to prepare for the day I rise for you, readjust the scales, and return to you what was taken. You thought you were shut out of certain doors, but in truth I closed them to shield you from territories where hidden dangers waited. Some paths seemed appealing, yet beneath them lay networks of rivalry, concealed intentions, subtle competition, and faces that appeared friendly while hearts pulsed with envy. I saw all these things, and I knew that if you stepped in, your soul would be eroded. So I did not permit you to go further. You believed you lost opportunity, but in truth, I was saving you from traps you never even knew existed. No door was closed because of your inadequacy. Every door closed because of my protection. There were people who pretended to be kind to you, yet I saw clearly that their motives were impure. I saw the jealousy beneath their nods, the self-satisfaction behind their concerns, the subtle shiver they felt at the thought of you surpassing them. And I did not allow these things to poison your soul. You thought they left because you were not enough, but it was I who removed their hands from your life so you would not have to live one more moment under the shadow of their toxic emotions. I set boundaries. I withdrew their influence over your feelings. I narrowed their access so they could no longer touch your inner world as before. Every shift was not for their punishment, but for your freedom. Soon, you will feel your heart lighten even before your circumstances change. You will feel less troubled by the things that once kept you awake. You will no longer feel the need to please those who never truly understood you. A quiet peace will rise not because the outside world is calm, but because your inner being is being healed and restored by me. You will be surprised when the confidence you thought was shattered begins to return, not like thunder, but like cool water soaking into dry earth. That is when you will know I am at work. But I am not merely patching torn places. I am replacing the entire garment. I am not healing you in fragments. I am restructuring the foundation. I am not only pulling you out of pain, I am bringing you into a place where old wounds no longer have the right to touch you. The restoration I am releasing is not a repair of what was broken. It is the creation of a new reality, one where you stand in the value and dignity I placed within you from the beginning. All this time you have lived beneath what I intended for you, not because you lacked worth, but because old wounds tied you to that lower place. Now I am lifting you not with a dramatic shout, but with a profound movement that carries you into a wider, freer sky. And when I uproot, I sow at the same time. I sow the truth that you are loved, even when no one speaks it aloud. I sow the truth that you carry worth, even when others forget to honor you. I sow the truth that you are chosen, even when you feel abandoned. None of these are theories. They are becoming the new reality within your soul. I know there are relationships you guarded with all your devotion, only to watch them dissolve before your eyes. You blamed yourself. thinking you were not good enough to keep them. But you do not know that sometimes I must separate you from those who do not have the capacity to value you, not to punish you, but to protect you from deeper wounds. I never allow a connection to be severed without righteous reason. There are people you wished would stay, yet I compelled them to leave because they carried a burden, not life. There are doors you wish to enter, but I locked them because behind them existed only exhaustion. There were places you longed to step into, but I held you back because I knew those grounds would harm your soul. I have watched you kneel and plead for something I knew would only hurt you further if it remained. I saw the truth hidden behind gentle words. I saw the motives buried beneath actions that appeared kind. And because I am the one who guards you, I pulled you away from what did not belong to you. You will understand this more clearly when you witness the restoration I am bringing. In the days ahead, you will see that those who are sincere toward you are drawing closer, that sacred connections are forming, and that encounters small yet full of direction will unfold with the smoothness of flowing water. Not by chance, not by coincidence. This is the orchestration of heaven. I do not only protect you from what is harmful, I protect you from what seems good but is not meant for you. There are opportunities you longed for that I did not open, not because you were unworthy, but because I wanted you to have something better, something truer, something rightly timed. Not every invitation elevates. Not every golden door leads to true glory. Some things appear beautiful but quietly injure the soul. I will not allow that to reach you. You once wondered why I did not open the doors you wanted, but if you saw what lay behind them, you would thank me for my silence. You thought I was slow, but truly, I was guiding your hand toward a path that only the future could reveal as my wisdom. Child, I am restoring your honor not by inflating it, but by placing you in the spaces that match who you truly are. I am drawing you out of small, wounding conversations into dialogues of genuine influence. I am lifting you from hands that did not know how to treasure you into environments strong enough to uphold you. I am bringing you out of rooms full of comparison and into places where you can breathe freely. I will cause those who once belittled you to witness what happens when I raise you up, not to shame them, but to reveal that I never abandoned you. I will cause what was once distorted about you to become clear. I will cause every wrong word spoken about you to crumble under the weight of the truth I establish. I will cause those who misjudged you to face a reality utterly different from what they imagined. My beloved one, I want to draw your heart nearer so you may see that a quiet yet powerful reversal is unfolding in the spiritual realm on your behalf, a movement not born from randomness or luck, but initiated the moment I declared that you had learned enough from your pain, that your wounds had reached the point where healing must begin, that your dignity could no longer be pressed down even for another moment. You do not know that every step, every word endured, every tear you believed unnoticed has been gathered by me as evidence in the courts of heaven. I have not stood outside these moments. I have been in the center of them, observing every look that made you shrink, remembering every word that hurt your soul, noting each hidden conversation people thought you would never know. I gather all of it not to fuel anger, but to prepare for the day I rise on your behalf, reset the scales, and restore what has been taken. You believed you were shut out of certain doors, but I closed them to protect you from territories where danger was hidden. Some paths seemed inviting, yet beneath them lay webs of rivalry, concealed agendas, quiet competition, and faces that appeared kind but hearts full of envy. I saw all of it, and I knew that if you stepped forward, your soul would be eroded, so I did not allow you to go further. You thought you lost an opportunity, But truly I was saving you from traps you never even knew existed. Not one door closed because of your inadequacy. Every door closed because of my protection. There were people who appeared kind. Yet I saw clearly the impurity of their motives. I saw the jealousy beneath their nods, the self-satisfaction behind their concern, the subtle shiver they felt at the thought of you surpassing them. And I did not allow these things to touch your soul. You believed they left because you were not enough. But it was I who removed their grip from your life so you would not live under the shadow of their toxic emotions any longer. I set boundaries. I withdrew their influence. I narrowed their access so they could not touch your inner world as before. Every shift occurred not to punish them, but to free you. Soon, you will feel your heart lighten, even before circumstances shift. You will worry less about what once robbed you of sleep. You will no longer feel the need to please those who never truly understood you. A quiet peace will arise not because everything outside is calm, but because your inner being is being restored by me. You will be amazed as the confidence you thought was shattered begins to return, not like thunder, but like cool water seeping into parched ground. That is when you will know I am working. But I am not merely patching torn fabric, I am replacing the entire garment. I am not healing you in fragments, I am restructuring the foundation. I am not simply pulling you out of pain, I am bringing you into a place where the old wounds no longer have access to you. The restoration I am releasing is not a repair, it is a new reality, where you stand in the value and dignity I placed in you from the beginning. For so long, you have lived beneath what I intended, not because you lacked worth, but because old wounds tied you to that low ground. Now I am lifting you not with a dramatic call, but through a deep movement leading you into a spacious sky. You will see clearly that every sorrow you endured is becoming evidence of my faithfulness. The tears you thought were wasted are becoming seeds for the harvest I am bringing. The moments you were overlooked will become the platform from which I raise you. What you lost will become the doorway through which I give you something more perfect, deeper, and enduring. The nights you thought would never yield a dawn were all recorded by me. And now dawn is stepping through the mist with a light capable of changing the entire sky. When you look back, you will know I was never late. You will understand that I lift you in heaven's way quietly, deeply, steadily, and in a manner no one can deny. What I want you to hold deep within is the truth that everything once aimed to harm you is now being turned for your good. What once made you fall is now the place where I am setting you upright. What once stole from you will now be returned with increase. And the battle you thought you had to fight alone is no longer yours. For I have taken it up. I have never lost. And I will not begin with your battle, my child. After rising to defend you against the injustices of life, after closing the doors that drained your soul and leading you out of spaces where you were not valued, I now want to take you deeper into a level of healing. Few are willing to face the inner place where you have locked yourself within invisible chains you no longer recognize. Because some of the strongest chains do not come from outside, they are woven from the conclusions you unknowingly made about yourself after each fall, each rejection, each season of being overlooked. They do not shout, they sink their roots quietly, like ink spreading across white paper, distorting how you see everything, including me. I love you too much to let you keep living with those chains. And so I come not only to break the pressures from the outside, but to remove the subtle restraints you have mistaken as your nature. Think back, there were days you repeated in silence, words I never spoke over your life, that you were too weak, that you were never enough, that you always came second, that you would never be someone's first choice, that you were only chosen when no one else was available, that blessings belong to those more deserving, while you should settle for the scraps. These words never came from my mouth. They are fragments of painful seasons you gathered and stacked into a thick wall between you and the truth. Many times, when I tried to speak to you about your worth, about your calling, about what I see in you, those walls blocked my words, so you heard rejection more easily than affirmation, believing lowering voices faster than my uplifting one. You wondered why. Whenever blessing approached, something inside you pulled you back, as if part of you could not fully accept the good. Those are the invisible chains I have come to touch today. These chains did not form overnight. They were woven from moments you felt forgotten, misunderstood, placed last, silenced when you needed reassurance, blamed when you simply longed to be understood. Each time, instead of hearing my voice, you listened to another whisper saying, "See, you're not important. See, you're only a burden. See, you're not someone worth keeping. See, you are always the extra." You mistook those whispers for truth, but they were only the echoes of those who never saw you through my eyes. And to survive, you put on layers of armor. You acted stronger than you felt, laughed louder than your heart allowed, took blame to preserve the peace, shrank your expectations to avoid disappointment, said it's fine so often that you nearly believed it. Those garments helped you survive the darker seasons, I saw it. And I do not blame you, but now they are constricting you, making it hard to breathe in the vast space I am bringing you into. I come not to criticize those survival mechanisms, but to gently remove them from your shoulders, because you are not in the same trenches anymore. You are stepping into a season where I want you to live, not merely endure. I will begin by illuminating the corners you thought had turned to stone. In the days to come, you may suddenly remember a long-buried memory, a phrase you thought meant nothing, a look you believed had faded but still stings. Do not push it away, for that is the moment I am touching what has long been hidden. I do not reveal old memories to wound you again. I reveal them to pour oil upon them. I do not lead you back into dark rooms to remind you of pain. I lead you there so that this time you are not standing alone. This time I am standing with you, my hand on your shoulder, saying, "You are not what they said. You are what I declare." I know you have grown accustomed to living in defense, keeping distance so you will not be hurt again. You tell yourself you need no one, that relying on yourself is enough, that lower expectations lead to fewer disappointments. But deep inside, you still long to be seen, to be heard, to be received. Do not be ashamed of that longing. I am the one who placed it within you. I did not create you to isolate yourself or to shrink behind walls so tall that even love struggles to reach you. Those walls protected you once, but now they block the very hands I am sending to lift you. So I will gently teach you to release your defenses, not to make you vulnerable to harm, but to make your heart soft enough to receive the goodness I am giving. Notice how, lately, when someone genuinely encourages you, your first reaction is suspicion. You assume they are being polite, obligatory, or merely courteous. You convince yourself they do not see all of you, and that if they knew the whole story, they would not speak kindly, or when something good comes near, you brace yourself for the bad that must surely follow. As if your mind refuses to believe grace could ever be so simple. All of this reveals that the inner chains have been dictating your reactions. I do not condemn you for this, but I have come to say you do not have to live like that anymore. You are under no obligation to prepare for tragedy just to lessen the fall. You are invited to open your heart to blessing without constantly doubting it. I do not only break chains with a declaration, I heal through my presence. This means I will walk with you through every step in which you learn to speak differently to yourself. Instead of waking up with the thought, "Nothing good is likely to happen to me today," I will plant within your heart another whisper, gentler and truer. "Today I am still here, and what I am writing for you has not ended." Instead of concluding, "I am always the one who comes last," I will teach you to hear this instead. "I have never been late for you, and you have never fallen behind in my plan." Instead of looking into the mirror and seeing only someone exhausted, I will let you see my gaze, the gaze that does not overlook a single detail of the beauty I placed within you, not just in your face, but in the contours of your heart, in the streaks of compassion, in the threads of patience, in the capacity to love even after betrayal. When I say you are free, it is not only freedom from circumstances, it is freedom from the old stories in your mind that have clung to you. I do not erase memory, but I strip it of authority over your identity. The wounds remain part of your history, but they no longer define your future. You will be able to tell your story without trembling and without shame, because by then you will know you are no longer the passive character in it. You are the one I lifted from the ruins, the one I brushed the dust off, the one I set in a new place. When the inner chains fall away, you will no longer be drawn to relationships and situations that repeat the same old patterns of pain. You will recognize unhealthy signs much earlier than before, because a healed heart no longer accepts poisonous food. You will stop agreeing to things that are beneath the value I have placed in you, not because you have become proud, but because you now know who you are in my eyes. And then, you will begin to attract completely different things into your life, people who know how to cherish you, connections that I myself arrange, opportunities that do not require you to betray your true self in order to obtain them. My beloved child, the work of removing inner chains is not an easy phase. At times you will feel more tired than usual, more sensitive, more easily touched by deep layers you once avoided. But whenever that happens, remember, you are not the one opening those doors alone. I am walking with you through every room. When tears fall because an old memory suddenly resurfaces, do not rush to wipe them away as if you were not allowed to be weak. Let those tears wash away what has been frozen for so long. I am very near in those moments, and it is precisely when you feel most fragile that I work in the deepest way. Trust that I do not strip off your old armor to leave you exposed. I am clothing you with another mantle, the mantle of peace, the mantle of resting in my love, the mantle of a new identity no longer governed by human judgment or human gaze. You will learn to walk more lightly, to speak more kindly to yourself, to treat your own soul as a dear friend rather than an enemy constantly scolded. That is the sign that the inner chains are falling. You are not the sum of what people have done to you. You are not the conclusion of your darkest days. You are not the verdict of old mistakes. You are a work I am patiently building, a soul I paid a price to redeem, a child I chose to carry light into places still bound as you once were. What is happening within you now is not only for you. One day you will stand before those who are living under the same torment, the same self-contempt, the same accusing voices you once endured. And you will not speak in theory, you will speak out of a story that has been transformed. In that moment, the chains that once held you will have become keys to set others free. This is the season in which I step into the deepest places of your soul to unlock, to unbind, to heal, to renew. You do not need to understand every step I take. You only need not to turn away when I knock on doors you least want to touch. Let me be the one who speaks the final word about you, not fear, not memory, not the voices of people. When I say you are free, You are truly free even on the inside. My beloved child, I want to lead you further into this inner journey, because there is a truth many never dare to face. Not all pain comes from what others have done. The deepest layer of hurt often comes from what you whisper to yourself at night. The quiet conclusions you accept as so obvious they no longer need to be questioned. That is the heaviest chain of all, because it does not pound on the door, does not shout, does not terrify you openly. It simply, gently becomes the habit of your mind. And when a lie is repeated long enough, it begins to sound more like truth than truth itself. That is why I must step into the deepest place to reset foundations that once drifted only a fraction off, but that small shift has pulled your whole life off course by miles. There are moments when you stand before something good, yet your heart sinks as though someone were pulling you backward. You want to rejoice, but joy vanishes quickly. You want to believe, but doubt pricks your soul like a needle, causing you to withdraw. You want to move forward, yet your feet feel glued to the ground. You call it intuition, experience, survival instinct. But in reality, it is only the reflex of wounds that have never been named. A heart accustomed to injury reacts as though every new door is a trap, every new person a threat, every ray of hope a cruel trick. And this hypervigilance, though you believe it protects you, quietly locks you out of the very things I long to give. You often think you are failing because you are not skilled enough, not attractive enough, not strong enough, but you do not realize that a deeper root is this. You do not really believe you are worthy of love, worthy of being chosen, worthy of being lifted up. You have spent so long in situations where you had to shrink yourself so as not to disturb anyone, had to remain silent to preserve peace, had to accept the minimum because you feared that desiring more would make you seem greedy or unrealistic. Those memories, those years, those relationships eventually formed a wall you mistook for personality, when in fact it is only a makeshift armor woven from fractures. Today I have come to remove that armor, not by tearing it off so abruptly that you panic, but by loosening each thread gently. I know you have lived in constant defense for a long time. If I changed everything too quickly, you would be frightened and cling tighter to the chains you already know. I do not come to confuse you. I come to set you free. And my freedom always moves in step with my patience. In recent days, you have felt unusually sensitive, easily moved, easily tired, easily drawn back into old memories more than ever before. You have thought this was a sign of weakness, but I want you to know it is a sign that healing is underway. A long-standing wound must be opened, seen, and named before it can truly mend. I do not do this to make you hurt again. I do it so you no longer have to walk on with shards lodged in your heart. When emotions rise without clear reason, it is not chaos. It is I touching layers that once were too unsafe for you to expose. Now it is different, because you have me in every breath. And you know by now that I will not abandon you, not even for a second. I want you to understand that some wounds have lived within you for so long that you began to believe they were part of your DNA, like the feeling of being abandoned whenever someone goes silent for too long. The sense of not being good enough whenever an opportunity does not arrive. The pressure to try twice as hard just to prove your worth, or the urge to control everything so you won't be hurt again. These things are not your true essence. They are only reactions formed in an environment shaped by fear. And when you live in that environment long enough, you start mistaking fear for yourself. But I tell you, it was never you. It was only dust clinging to your light through the years you spent in survival mode. I do not blame you for carrying that dust. I simply want you to know that its time is over. For I am leading you into a season where the old reactions will no longer serve you, where the old defenses will no longer fit, where the old mechanisms will no longer help you survive. You will not be surviving anymore. You will learn to truly live, and to live fully. The heart must be light. The mind must be spacious. The soul must be able to breathe. The inner chains must come off so you can straighten your shoulders, lift your head, and walk like someone who knows they are loved without hesitation. Many times, when I called you near, you pushed yourself away because you believed you were not holy enough, not strong enough, not steady enough. But you did not understand I never invite you closer because you are enough. I invite you because I am enough. My power is enough to lift you from what you believe is unforgivable. My love is enough to soften the places you thought had turned to stone. My goodness is enough to rewrite the conclusions you stamped upon your own life. You are not the one who must become perfect before coming to me. I am the one who perfects you. I know there are words you heard in childhood that still echo like sounds trapped in old rooms, words that made you small. Words that taught you to fear mistakes. Words that convinced you that your value was found in pleasing others. I do not deny that those words wounded you, but I want you to know they no longer have the right to shape you. I am pulling out every arrow embedded in your soul, and each time I do, it may sting, but afterward you will breathe more deeply. Inner healing is not only so your life becomes easier to bear, it is preparation for the things I intend to entrust to you. A heart still bound by fear will dread open doors. A spirit closed in on itself cannot hold great blessing. A person who does not believe in their own worth will drop what I give them simply because they think they do not deserve it. I am not removing chains merely to ease your sadness. I am removing them so you will be strong enough, wide enough, deep enough to step into your calling without trembling. If you notice your thoughts changing, your reactions shifting, the way you speak to yourself becoming different, it is not accidental. It is I resetting the bricks of your inner foundation. If you feel lighter after releasing a harmful relationship, it is I pulling you out of old nets. If you suddenly want to reorder your life, clean your space, or clear away long neglected corners, it is a sign that your soul is opening a new territory. And if in quiet nights you feel as though someone is holding your heart, that is me, the one who heals and rebuilds each shattered piece without making a sound. I am doing something deep within you, something no one else sees, something only you and I know. But when the appointed time comes, what I have done inside you will surface like sunlight, incapable of being hidden. You will be amazed to find that you no longer react according to old patterns, no longer obey old fears, no longer live in vigilance, no longer brace yourself against good things. You will find yourself more natural in peace, more courageous in love, more gentle in the way you live. This will not be a better version of you. It will be the real you, the one I intended since before the earth existed. Let me continue. Let me go deeper. Let me loosen the parts of you that you think cannot change. Let me show you who you are without the chains that have held you. This journey is not fast, but it is certain, because it is guided not by your effort but by my love, my beloved child. Sit still for a moment and hear what I say. You are no longer defined by the dark days you have walked through, but by the light I am sowing into them. You once believed there were parts of you that could never change, fears that could never fade, habits that could never break, corners that could never be touched by light. But you were mistaken. There is no part of your soul beyond my reach. There is no darkness too deep for my light to enter. There is no fear too ancient for me to silence. There is no memory too old for me to redefine. There is no voice strong enough to drown mine. What you call your nature has merely been layers of dust accumulated over the years. Your true nature is not timidity, not withdrawal, not suspicion, not fear of good things. Your true nature is not the person afraid of being abandoned, not the one who must overwork to be loved, not the one who always comes last, not the one who must pretend to be strong to avoid being hurt. Your true nature is the tenderness I placed within you, the clean intuition, the wide compassion, the refined endurance, the capacity to love without losing yourself, the clarity of spirit that few possess. These have been in you from the beginning. They were simply covered by the ashes of past storms. What I am doing today is not repair, it is rebirth. Not surface renewal, but transformation at the roots. Not patchwork, but creation. Notice how your mind is being rewritten. Each time you face an old fear, instead of shrinking as before, you begin to see it through the eyes of truth rather than the lens of memory. You no longer believe immediately the voice that tells you you're not worthy, because another voice, soft yet strong, is rising. I choose you. You are beginning to realize that not every silence is rejection. Not every departure is proof of your inadequacy. Not every failure speaks of your worthlessness. You are learning to distinguish between circumstance and identity, between what happens to you and what I speak over you. In the past, whenever someone treated you with indifference, you concluded that you were unlovable. Whenever someone did not return your heart, you assumed you had done something wrong. Whenever a door closed, you blamed yourself for not trying hard enough. But now I am teaching you to see that you are not the cause of every painful thing. Some things happen simply because others do not see through my eyes. Some doors close because they are not meant for you. Some rejections are my way of pulling you out of places that would have destroyed your soul had you stayed. Some people leave because I know they cannot accompany you into the next season. That is not your lack, that is my protection. Your greatest fear, all this time, has not been failure, but the fear that if others truly saw you, your vulnerability, your depth, your sincerity, they would leave. So you learn to shrink, to stay quiet, to only show a small, safe part of yourself. But I am healing that, piece by piece. I want you to know that my love for you is not like the love you have known before. I do not walk away when you are weak. I do not step back when you cry. I am not indifferent when you tremble. I am not discouraged when you repeat the same old fears. I stay. I always stay. And it is this very constancy that will teach you to believe that you are worthy of people who also know how to stay, people whose love is not limited by your perfection, but drawn to the honesty you carry inside. Inner healing is not the feeling of never hurting again. It is the ability to stand in the very place that once broke you and still remain in peace. It is not forgetting, but remembering without shaking. It is not erasing history, but reclaiming the right to tell your story from the perspective of someone who has risen. It is not denying the wound, but looking at it with the clarity of one who knows it no longer has power over them. When your soul is healed, your decisions will change as well. You will stop choosing what is just enough to not feel lonely, and begin choosing what is worthy of your maturity. You will stop clinging to those who cannot see your worth, because a healed soul understands that true love does not chain, it upholds. You will stop trying to hold on to rooms I have already asked you to leave. You will stop accepting roles that require you to dim your inner light. You will stop carrying the fear of abandonment as the reason to keep what does not belong to you. When your heart changes, the direction of your life will change. I want you to know this: you are not broken. You are not defective. You are not too much or too little. You are not the sum of the mistakes you have made. You are not defined by those who did not know how to love you. You are not the inheritance of your wounds. You are someone I created with intention, with my own breath, with immeasurable worth, with a calling that darkness has feared so much it has tried in every way to make you doubt yourself. And now, as the chains fall, as the old narratives lose their grip, as my voice grows stronger in your heart, you will begin to see something you have never fully seen before. You were never weak. You were bound, and I am the one who breaks every chain. My beloved child, after I have touched the deepest layers of your soul, removed each invisible chain, soothed the old wounds, and reshaped your identity according to heaven's view, I now want to lead you into an entirely new phase, a phase where what I have done within you begins to show in how you live, in the choices you make, in the way you walk, and even in how you see your own destiny. This is the moment when the past can no longer hold you, when fear no longer dictates your actions, and when old, distorted conclusions no longer have the right to speak the final word over your future. This is the moment I open doors. This is the moment you step through. But before you move forward, I need you to understand something important. Transition is not a sudden external event. It is the harmony between what I have prepared inside of you and the doors I open outside of you. You must step out from within before you step out into what is before you. A soul still in chains will see opportunity as a burden, blessing as a threat, and open doors as danger. But when the heart is healed, you will recognize that what I prepare for you no longer frightens you, it strengthens you. When the inside is changed, the outside is no longer a battlefield you must survive, but a field where you are deployed. And now I say this to you: you are standing at the threshold of a season of transition greater than anything you have ever known. A season in which you will clearly see the restoration I promised, not only in your inner life, but also in the visible areas of your life, doors that once closed, places you once wept over because you could not reach them, dreams you believed had died, promises you thought were forgotten. This season is not only comfortable, it is a breakthrough. Not only healing, it is opening. Not only shelter, it is commissioning. I know there were times you felt left behind, as if others were stepping into new seasons while you stood on the sidelines, watching but never entering. But you did not realize that I intentionally held you back, not because you were less, but because you were not yet ready to keep what I longed to give. There are blessings that, if you received them while still bound by old fears, you would use to wound yourself. There are open doors that, if you stepped through unhealed, you would turn into burdens. There are relationships that, if I brought them into your life while you were still gripping old memories, you would love from your wounds instead of from your maturity. But now it is different. The inside of you has changed, and so now I begin to open doors. My child, I want you to recognize deeply that the time you are living in is unlike any other time in your past. If in previous seasons you felt as though you had to climb each step with great strain, in this season you will sense my hand lifting under your feet. If before you had to find your way alone in the dark, now the light of heaven will go before you. If before you wrestled with countless doubts, now clarity will flow through you like water, not because you have become perfect, but because you have allowed me to touch the deepest parts. And when I touch the inside, your whole outer life begins to change. I know there is still a measure of hesitation in you, a quiet worry, a lingering question about whether you are truly ready to step into what is new. You ask, is there something lacking in me? Is there something I am still not good enough at? Is there some part of me you have not finished fixing, my child? Hear me. What makes you ready is not perfection, but obedience. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to place your steps inside my words. When I open a door, you need only to walk through it. When I call, you need only to answer. When I lead, you need only to follow. The new does not demand your perfection. It asks for your trust. In the days ahead, you will notice something strange and beautiful. Doors that once felt heavy will suddenly be easy to open. Relationships that once felt tense will become lighter. Opportunities you used to knock on without response will begin to find their way to you. People who never recognized your value will now be drawn to the light in you, and things you once prayed for with tears will quietly begin to blossom. This is not coincidence, it is the sign of transition. Let me make this clear, it is not the world that has changed, it is you. You are carrying a different frequency now, a different tone, a different kind of strength. Your mind has been rewritten, your soul has been rearranged, your heart has been softened to receive what is new. And so everything around you begins to realign itself to the frequency you carry. When your inner life comes into agreement with heaven, your outer life comes into alignment with the land I have promised you. Have you noticed, recently, quiet things have happened that still made you pause for a moment? Someone distant for a long time, suddenly wanting to reconnect. An opportunity you thought was gone somehow coming back to you. An apology you never demanded unexpectedly arriving. A door you thought was sealed forever cracking open again. Or a deep peace settling over you for no obvious reason. These are signal signs that heaven has shifted and you are being moved into a new position. But my child, there is something I want to remind you of softly yet deeply. Do not carry an old mindset into a new season. Do not drag old fears into the doors I am opening. Do not bring the memory of rejection into the relationships I am sending. Do not carry past suspicion into the blessings I am placing over your life. You are not where you were. You are being brought into a land where the winds blow to the rhythm of my voice, not the echoes of your past. Your mind must move with the season, for the new cannot blossom on the soil of old memories. I have prepared new ground for you. In the days to come, I will teach you how to walk through this transition not by your striving, but by my leading. You will learn to discern my voice from the voice of fear. You will learn to distinguish a door I open from a door opened by temptation. You will learn to move neither in haste, nor in panic, nor in grasping, nor in pressure, but in the peace of one who knows they are being led by the one who never makes mistakes. There may be moments when you feel slightly overwhelmed because things seem to come so quickly. But I want you to remember this swiftness is not sudden luck. It is the fruiting of a tree you have been planting for many years that has finally reached its season to bear fruit. My child, I want you to prepare your spirit, for from this point forward, you will begin to see yourself stepping into spaces where you once stood only on the outside, daring only to dream. You will step into conversations that once intimidated you. You will be invited into positions you once believed you were unworthy of. You will witness the very things you once cried out for in tears. I do not say this to make you proud, but to let you know that I have not forgotten anything you have sown, even the seeds planted in silence. There is a truth you must engrave upon your heart before I lead you into the next part. Every outward opening begins with an inward unlocking. And now, within you, the unlocking has already begun. Chains have fallen off. Hidden voices have quieted. Old mechanisms have dissolved. Long-standing burdens have been lifted from your shoulders. You no longer walk with your shadow. you walk with the light I have placed within you. Therefore, this season of transition is no longer a dream. It is reality. It is beginning, my beloved child. When I bring you to the threshold of a transitional season and allow you to see the first signs of opening, now I must teach you something equally important: how to walk in the new land into which I am leading you. For transition is not merely a moment, it is a journey. Blessing is not only what you receive, it is the way you live in communion with me. Breakthrough is not simply an open door, it is a rhythm of steps aligned with the voice of heaven. And the new season is not only about entering it, it is about keeping your spirit attuned to my pace so that you are not swept away by noise, not misled, and not shaken by the lingering echoes of the old season. You have seen the first light, but that light must be tended within you, as one tends a flame to make it through a long night. There are seasons I lead you through by great miracles, but there are also seasons I lead you by small whispers, subtle signs, and gentle nudges within the heart. And this is one of those seasons, a season in which you must learn to hear my voice at a deeper frequency, not in the thunder, but in the wind. For in the season of transition, I rarely speak through noise. I speak through quiet yet powerful guidance that shows you when to move, when to pause, when to wait, when to advance quickly, and when to let go of what no longer belongs to you. I know you have grown accustomed to seasons in which everything seemed to resist you. So now that blessings begin to open, your first response is caution. But my child, that caution is no longer necessary. I do not call you into a new land so you must tremble at every good thing that comes your way. What I want to teach you here is active peace, the peace that comes from knowing that everything I place before you has already been examined, measured, and prepared by me for your growth. Nothing I give you will ever become an unbearable burden. No door I open will leave you to battle alone. No journey I begin in, you will ever be abandoned halfway. The world will speak. Fear will speak. Old memories will speak. Doubt will speak. And the voices of people will speak as well. But among all these voices, there is only one you need to anchor yourself to: my voice. My voice does not lead you into chaos. My voice leads you into peace. My voice does not stir fear within you. My voice plants certainty. My voice does not demand you to prove anything. My voice reminds you that you are chosen. My voice does not press you with weight. My voice carries a gentleness. As Scripture says, my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. I want you to understand this deeply, recognizing my voice is the first shield of protection in the new season. Remember this: the enemy cannot stop the door I open, but it will try to make you doubt that very door. It cannot hinder the blessing I give, but it will attempt to convince you that you are unworthy of receiving it. It cannot override my will, but it will try to push you off rhythm so that you blur the very work I am doing in you. Therefore, discernment is essential. And discernment does not come from tense effort. Discernment comes from a heart at rest. There are things that once confused you, but now suddenly feel clear without the need for overanalysis. There are words that once shook you, but now you simply walk past them without feeling the need to argue. There are emotions that once dictated your actions, but now they no longer have the authority they once possessed. These are the signs of a heart that has been healed. And a healed heart hears my voice more clearly than intellect ever can. In a season of transition, not every opportunity is a door, and not every person is a companion. Not every invitation comes from me, and not every change is a signal from heaven. Therefore, you must learn to see not only with your eyes, but with your spirit. Remember this: What I prepare for you will never require you to betray your essence, will never require you to shrink yourself, will never make you feel smaller, will never cost you your inner peace. If something comes and makes your soul uneasy, steals your sleep, or demands you to sacrifice peace just to hold on to it, that is not from me. True blessing never begins with unrest. True blessing is always planted in inward stillness. My child, I will teach you an essential principle of the new season. Whatever comes from me will stand without your effort to cling to it. Whatever does not come from me will slip from your hands, no matter how tightly you hold on. I do not want you exhausted from trying to keep what was never meant for you. I want your hands to be light, so they may receive the greater things that are coming. Do not fear when I remove from your hands what no longer serves my purpose. I do not take to make you lose. I take so you have room to receive what I am preparing to give. I also want you to know how to guard the new territory I am placing you in, not with rigid walls, but with spiritual alertness. There will be people drawn to the light within you, but not all will come with good intentions. There will be compliments, but not all will be sincere. There will be people who want to walk with you only because they see your movement, not because they truly care for your soul. Therefore, you must learn to invite me into every new connection. I will give you clarity to discern who I am sending to walk with you and who is merely passing by. In the new land, you must also learn to rest correctly. Rest is not stopping. Rest is placing your heart in my hands each day. For blessing does not drain you, but if you step into a new blessing with the old mindset, you will feel worn out from trying to hold what I have already taken responsibility for. Let me hold it. Let me lead. Let me open and close as I choose. Let yourself walk without the fear of losing your way. I do not merely open the door for you. I walk through it with you. You do not enter the new thing alone. You do not face great changes without me at your side. You do not have to exert yourself to remain strong. Your strength does not come from striving. It comes from relying on me. You may tremble, but I do not. You may hesitate, but I do not. You may feel afraid for a moment, but I never fear. You are allowed to be weak, because I am strong. And in the union of your weakness and my strength, you will learn a new way of living by guidance instead of defensiveness, living in peace instead of tension, living with open hands instead of clenched ones, living as someone who is loved rather than someone trying to save themselves. Let me lead you step by step in this season, for this is no longer a journey of fear, it is a journey of unfolding. No longer a journey of survival, it is a journey of expansion. No longer a journey defined by old wounds, it is a journey defined by new light. You do not step into the new land alone, you step with me. The one who healed you, the one who opened the door for you, and the one who goes before you in all things, my beloved child. Now I want to prepare you for the most important part, the deployment. For blessing is not merely for your hands to hold. Blessing is given, so you may step into the position I have ordained for you, a position that only a healed soul, a softened heart, and a renewed mind can carry. This is not the season where you merely cross a threshold. This is the season where you stand in your assignment, where everything I have planted in you over the years begins to bloom into responsibility, into influence, into a light that darkness cannot extinguish. The process I have led you through was never only to make you feel better or calmer, it was to make you capable of carrying the weight of what I entrust, capable of standing firm under anointing, capable of not trembling before new positions, capable of holding what I give without dropping it through fear or self-doubt. Some blessings are reserved for those who have matured within, for if I give them too soon, they become burdens instead of joy. But you have entered a stage where I can trust you with more. And this is what I tell you today. What I am preparing for you is greater than what you have imagined. For years you thought you were standing still. But in truth, I was writing something within you that no human eye could see. I build depth before I build breadth. I strengthen roots before I raise height. I heal the inside before I open the outside. And thus, when the season of deployment comes, it does not arrive like the faint light of dawn, it rises like the unstoppable sun. Nothing I have done within you has ever been wasted. It was preparation for what I will do through you. Prepare yourself to find your feet planted in places you once never dared to imagine, not because you were unworthy, but because old fear once made you shrink. I have removed that fear, and now you will realize that places which once made you tremble are now places where you stand in peace. Those who once made you doubt your worth will no longer hold any power over you. The dreams you once hid out of fear of ridicule will rise to the surface, for I am breathing upon them. The abilities I placed within you long ago, which seemed dormant, will awaken like flowers blooming in their season. Do you know why I healed the deepest parts of you so carefully? Because people may take your opportunities, but they cannot take your identity when it is sealed by me. People may misunderstand you, but they cannot shake you when you know exactly where you belong. People may doubt you, but they cannot convince you you are worthless when I have spoken the opposite. When your identity is sealed by heaven, no word on earth can erase it. Deployment does not begin with you doing something great. It begins with you standing in the right place. The right place in spirit. The right place in trust. The right place in peace. The right place in your inner voice. The right place is your confidence in me. When you stand in the right place, what I assign will find you, not because you chase it, but because it was written for you from the beginning. Soon you will see yourself entering spaces where others cannot understand why you were chosen. But I do not choose according to earthly logic. I choose according to heavenly sight. I do not choose the perfect. I choose the ones who let me heal. I do not choose the strongest. I choose the ones who depend on me the most. I do not choose those who never fall. I choose those who return to me when they fall, instead of running away. I chose you not because you were confident, but because you were willing for me to build confidence from within. No one can compete for what I have ordained for you. Because what is assigned does not seek the most qualified, it seeks the one who was crafted for the purpose. And you have been crafted for what is coming. In this season of deployment, the enemy will attempt to attack, but not in the old ways. It will not attack the weaknesses that once existed, for those have been healed. It will try to make you doubt the timing. It will whisper too soon. You're not enough. You will ruin it. You're not ready. You cannot carry this. These are echoes of old chains I have already broken. But now, when you hear those voices, you will recognize immediately that they are not from me. My voice never comes with panic. My voice never speaks like an accuser. My voice always carries peace. Even when I call you into something that makes you tremble, peace is the sign. I will teach you to keep rhythm. Heaven's rhythm does not always match the rhythm you desire. There will be moments I call you to move quickly because the door is wide open. There will be moments I call you to stand still. For though the door is open, the timing is not yet ripe. There will be moments I push you out of your comfort zone because you have remained there too long. There will be moments I hide you a little longer because I want your roots so strong that no wind can uproot them. The season of deployment is not a season of haste, it is a season of precision. And precision comes only when you trust me more than you trust your emotions. My child, I want you to hold this as the compass of your new season, what I open. No one can shut what I shut. No one can reopen. There is no place you step into where you will be overlooked if I am the one who placed you there. There is no door you can force open by your own strength that will stand, but every door I open for you, no one has the authority to close. When you walk in, my intention, you do not need to fight, to prove, to justify, or to compete. I am the one who performs it. You do not enter the season of deployment as someone who has been wounded. You enter as someone who has been healed, chosen, and positioned. You will not carry the breath of fear into the new land. You will carry the breath of peace. You will not bring the tears of old pain. You will bring the light I have kindled within you. You will not carry the narrative of failure. You will carry the testimony of restoration. And people will recognize what has happened to you, not because you try to shine, but because the light I have placed in you cannot be hidden. My beloved child, this is the stage where people will not only see blessing, but will see a mark, a seal that does not come from personal ability, not from achievement, not from effort, but from the fact that you allowed me to soften your heart, reshape your inner being, renew your mind, and break every invisible chain that once held your soul captive in the wilderness of doubt. Now I want you to understand this truth. You are stepping into an inheritance written for you before you ever existed, an inheritance that is not corroded by failure, not revoked by mistakes, not delayed by the cycles you once fell into. It remains intact. And now is the time I place it into your hands. You once thought inheritance was only something you receive. But in the reality of heaven, inheritance is something you become. It is not merely a blessing placed in your hands, but a stature placed in your spirit. I want you to enter this not as one who is searching for a place, but as one who has found where they belong. For all this time, you thought you were late, thought the years were passing without progress, thought every effort led only to confusion. Yet you did not know that in those seemingly silent days, I was building a place for you to stand, a place no one can take, no one can replace, no one can push you out of or steal away, because it is a place I designed specifically for you. Inheritance is not just the final reward. Inheritance is the truth about who you are, the truth I have spoken over you since the beginning. I know your heart has once been made to doubt itself by the words others sowed into you. At times they told you that you were not enough. At times they told you that you were too much. They said you were not the right fit, not smart enough, not strong enough, not whole enough. And over time, those words became cords tightening around your soul, causing you to remain only within a small, safe zone where you felt just right and not exposed. But I did not create you to just fit in. I created you to fit the scale of my intention. And now, having led you through seasons of deep healing, I want to tell you with the certainty of heaven that you no longer carry the identity of one who has been reduced. You carry the identity of one who has been expanded. I am pulling you out of the invisible limits you once quietly accepted. I am tearing down the walls you did not realize you had learned to live inside. I am opening to you a vision wider than anything you ever dared to see for yourself. What I am preparing for you in this season cannot be measured by past experience, nor can it be confined by old wounds. I am leading you into places where painful memories once declared, "You cannot," but I say, "You were destined to be able." You will find yourself doing things you once did not believe you were strong enough to do. You will step into spaces you once thought were only for others. You will raise your voice in contexts where you once felt too small even to be present. And in the very moment you stand in those places, you will recognize the truth. I have been preparing you for this for a long time, preparing you through failures, through heartbreaks, through nights when you believed you would not recover, through days when you chose to trust even when you had nothing to hold on to but me. For a long time I led you through journeys no one saw, so that now I may place you in positions where everyone will see, not so you may boast in yourself, but so you may bear witness to my faithfulness. Everything I am about to entrust to you is not random, it is a meticulous arrangement. The fruit of maturity, the result of all the times you quietly chose what was right, even when what was right left you feeling alone. I do not reward loud noise, I reward hidden faithfulness. And now, those hidden years become the foundation on which you stand firm in your inheritance. You will realize that when you step into your true inheritance, you no longer need to strive to be seen. My light upon you will draw attention on its own. You do not need to fight to be heard. The wisdom I have placed in you will cause others to listen. You do not need to prove your worth. The peace you carry will be the evidence. You do not need to chase opportunities. Opportunities will seek you out because you have stepped into the frequency of my intention. When your assignment opens, you will feel like a stone fitting exactly into its place, neither loose, nor extra, nor forced, but perfectly aligned. And this is what I want you to guard deep in your heart. What I entrust to you is not given for you to enjoy alone, but so that you may bring life to others. You will see that the wounds healed within you become strength when you touch the wounds of others. The pain you once thought was punishment becomes the key that opens doors of understanding, compassion, mercy, and comfort that only souls who have walked through the night can carry. Never underestimate what I have done to you. Not a single tear was meaningless. Every one has become the oil of anointing upon your life, my child. In this stage, I will also do what your eyes have not yet seen. I will bring into your life strategic people, healthy relationships, connections marked not by competition but by collaboration. This is the season where you will no longer have to carry every battle line alone. For I am placing in your life those who will lift up your hands, as Aaron and Hur lifted the hands of Moses, so that you do not grow weak when the battle enters its decisive moments. This is not coincidence, this is the orchestration of heaven. I want you to enter your inheritance with peace, not with a spirit of racing, for my inheritance does not come through haste, but through maturity. It does not come to make you boastful, but to strengthen your soul. It does not come to pull you away from me, but to draw you nearer, because it is precisely when you carry greater responsibilities that you will need my presence in deeper measure. Remember, a great blessing is not what you receive, it is what you sustain through dependence on me. The season of inheritance has opened. You are no longer going against the current, you are moving in the right direction. Not everything will be easy, but everything will be meaningful. And I will walk with you step by step, rhythm by rhythm, breath by breath. My child, as you step deeper into the inheritance I have prepared, I want you to know that every step in this season is protected by me with precision and power. For this is not merely you stepping into a new blessing, this is you stepping into a sacred territory whose boundaries I have drawn long before. You do not enter as a temporary visitor, you enter as a rightful heir. And as an heir, you do not need to question whether you are worthy. You only need to know that I have sealed you with the confirmation of heaven. Every place you step, every word you speak, every encounter I orchestrate is working together to form a greater picture that, for now, you see only in fragments. But do not fear what you have not yet seen. Trust my hand working behind the invisible veil. Your soul senses it, even when your eyes do not. The early days of transition may cause your heart to waver, for you have just walked out of a season marked by difficulty. testing, and subtle fractures within. But remember, this old wounds no longer have the authority to interpret your present. You do not carry the eyes of the defeated, you carry the eyes of the restored. Nothing I open carries the curses of your past. When I say your inheritance is protected, it means everything that belongs to this portion of your life: opportunities, honor, peace. And the relationships I send are guarded by me, as Israel was guarded in the wilderness. When the pillar of cloud shielded them by day, and the pillar of fire warmed them by night. And just like them, you are not stepping into this season alone. You enter under the covering of heaven. There are worries within you that you thought were gone. Yet as you step into the new, they quietly return, whispering that you are not enough, that you will lose what you have just received, that you will repeat old mistakes. But I want you to know the fortification I have built within your soul is stronger than those echoes. You no longer stand on the shifting ground of emotion. You stand on the foundation I built through patience, endurance, understanding, and alignment with my will. Those fears are not true. They are simply the last whispers of the old season, trying to hold you back as it watches you step into the new. Do not let their volume exceed my voice. They are only echoes. But I am the word. When you enter your inheritance, I know you fear you may not be strong enough to keep it. But remember, I never entrust anything that you must sustain alone. The protection in this season does not come from your effort. It comes from the authority I place upon your life. No enemy can break what I have declared yours. No slander can overturn what I have built. No jealousy can block what I have opened. I do not simply clear the path, I stand upon it. Guard it, cleanse it, and appoint my angels at points you cannot see, because you are stepping into a new depth. I must tell you about a subtle type of attack. Many cannot discern the doubt of the very blessing I bring. You have grown accustomed to battle, to lack, to striving to survive, to the point that when blessing arrives, you do not know how to rest in it. You fear peace because peace was once taken too quickly. You fear abundance because abundance once led to exploitation. You fear trust because trust once ended in disappointment. But my child, this is the season in which I will teach you how to breathe inside blessing, how to remain still within grace, how to believe that good things are not traps. They are the natural harvest of the faithfulness you sowed in your quiet seasons. And because I know new things can unsettle you, I will send signs to strengthen your heart. There will be small but meaningful moments, unexpected confirmations, aligning words from places you never anticipated, encounters that bring reassurance, and doors that open as effortlessly as an automatic gate sliding before your steps. These are not coincidences, they are my whispers saying, "You are on the right path, keep going. I know you need assurance, and I am willing to give it." Like a father holding close a child who still trembles at the morning light. My child, I also want to speak to you about expansion, something you will begin to see in the days ahead. Expansion does not always appear as something grand at first. Sometimes it comes as a shift in how you see yourself, how you speak, how you decide, how you guard healthy boundaries, how you no longer let fear dictate your reactions, how you build relationships on truth instead of loneliness. Expansion comes when you begin to say no to what once drained you and yes to what I have prepared. This is not pride, it is maturity. Not lack of love, it is discernment. Not selfishness, it is faithfulness to the portion I have entrusted to you. In this season, there will be people I remove from your life, not because they are evil, but because they no longer align with the road ahead. There will be relationships I close gently, like a train door shutting after a passenger has reached their stop. Do not run after those doors. Let them close. Do not mourn those who cannot go further with you. I am bringing others those who will speak life, who will strengthen rather than drain, who will walk with you rather than compete with you, who will recognize your value without requiring you to prove it. I want you to step into this journey not with a defensive posture, not with tension, not with suspicion, but with the peace that comes from knowing I am holding everything. You may not yet see the full picture, but you are standing in the right place. You may not see the ending, but you are moving in the right direction. You may not yet see the fullness of the blessing, but you are already living in its flow. Your task now is not to run. Your task is to remain in me so I may strengthen, protect, expand, and shape your soul into the very version I have ordained. My beloved child, when I have led you through healing, brought you into your inheritance, secured your protection, and arranged new steps beneath your feet, now I want to reveal to you an even deeper truth about why I chose you from the beginning. For inheritance is not the ending point. It is simply the intersection between what I have placed within you and what I desire to do through you. What I pour into your soul is never meant to be kept only for yourself. It always flows towards something wider, something greater, a ripple effect that only you, with your unique story, wounds, victories, and restoration, can release into the world. I saw you in the days when your pain was so heavy you believed you had nothing left to give. I saw you in the nights when your heart shattered so deeply even breathing felt burdensome. I heard your prayers whispered softly like wind because you did not want anyone to hear your weakness. And from those very depths, I am causing something to bloom, something you have not yet imagined. For the light I ignite burns brightest, not in the places already radiant, but in the places once swallowed by darkness. You are not only one who has been saved, you are one who has been sent. You are not only one who has been healed, you are one who has been empowered to become a place of healing for others. You are not only one who has been lifted, you are a sign, a witness, a living declaration that I am still working, still breaking chains, still rewriting stories that once seemed beyond hope. Your influence will not come from perfection, but from truth, the truth that you have suffered, the truth that you have fallen, the truth that you have lost, the truth that you have been betrayed, abandoned, misunderstood, but also the truth that I raised you, healed you, renewed your soul, and reset the bones of your inner being with a new strength, deeper and firmer than any season before. These truths, not great achievements, but authentic evidence of my faithfulness, are what make you a bearer of light others can follow. You will see that what I do to you will never end with you. It will shine outward like reflected rays, spreading from your heart into the hearts of others, forming places where darkness no longer holds authority. There are people I will send into your life, not so you may teach them from intellectual wisdom, but from the breath of your lived story. There are souls I will appoint for you to encounter people who appear strong outwardly, but are crying for help internally, with whispers the world cannot hear. They will come to you not because you have all the answers, but because your presence carries a peace they have longed for. They will not know why they trust you, why they open their hearts to you, why they feel safe near you, but I know, for that peace is mine, and you are simply carrying it like a lamp set on a high stand. Once the light within you begins to shine, the light of healing, of freedom, of restoration, of harmony, you will not be able to hide it, not because you seek to display it, but because true light cannot be concealed. It will appear in the way you speak, the way you look, the way you listen, the way you treat others, the way you walk through life without the bitterness you once carried. People will notice. They will feel comforted, encouraged, uplifted, even if you utter not a single sermon, and they will know you have met me. This is what sets you apart in the new season. You do not speak from an unhealed wound. You speak from a wound that has been restored. And that is the voice with power to break chains in the souls of others. A voice that once trembled but now stands firm will reach places loud voices cannot. A voice once silenced by fear but now speaking with peace will carry more weight than the confident words of those who lack depth. I did this in you, not only to make you lighter, stronger, to more confident, but to make your voice an instrument of heaven. You will find yourself entering conversations I have orchestrated long ago. You will speak words you did not know you had, because they are the words I place on your lips at the appointed moment. You will stand in situations where others tremble, yet you will remain steady, even surprising yourself, for it is the peace I have fastened like armor within you. You will become an anchor for wavering souls, not because you are strong, but because you have sunk your anchor deeply into me. Your strength does not lie in your movement, but in your abiding in me, abiding in peace, abiding in discernment, abiding in stillness before action, abiding in the quiet center that does not get pulled into the emotional storms of others. For your light remains steady only when you remain connected to the source, and when you abide in me, everything that flows from you carries the imprint of heaven, not the echo of old experience. I want you to understand that the light you carry will not drain you, will not exhaust you, and will not cause you to lose yourself. The light I place within you is a light sustained by my very presence. You do not need to strive to create influence. You simply need to live truthfully in what I have done within you. And that alone is enough to bring change far beyond what you imagine. Light never wrestles with darkness. It only needs to appear. And darkness withdraws on its own. The journey ahead will no longer be a solitary one. You will not have to hold yourself up. You will not have to find direction alone. You will not have to guess what is mine and what is not. I will guide you through gentle confirmations, holy nudges, and whispers only your spirit can recognize. You will walk not with the fear of being wrong, but with the confidence of being rightly led, not with anxiety about losing, but with the assurance that everything I open is held firmly by my hand. You are becoming a light, not a light of fame or glitter, but a light of healing, peace, steadiness, wisdom, and presence. You carry what I have placed in you, and this world needs exactly that. My beloved child, this is not merely a season of blessing, it is a season of fulfillment. It is the season where the things I once whispered to your heart on nights when you felt too tired to believe are now beginning to emerge like dawn after a long night. Not every promise will come at once, but each one will step forward at the right moment, in the right rhythm, with the right maturity I have cultivated within you. There are things I placed in your heart long ago, desires that seemed unreasonable, dreams that felt too big, directions that appeared mismatched with your circumstances, and many times you asked me whether you were imagining too much, stepping outside of reality, or longing for things that were not yours. But I want to speak clearly. I am the one who planted those dreams in your soul, and I have never forgotten them. You thought they had died, but they were maturing underground, like seeds resting in the dark, waiting for the right weather, the right depth of roots, the right strength of stem to rise without being toppled by the wind. What you thought was delay, in me was preparation. what you perceived as meaningless silence. In me was careful arrangement, what you experienced as loss. In me was refinement. And now, the time of fulfillment is opening before you. You will not step into it with a heart tangled in doubt as before, but with certainty that every step you take is guided. The things you once said, "I'm not enough for this," will become the very things I enable you to do. The things you questioned, "Is this really for me?" will become what I place in your hands as confirmation. And the places where doors once closed will open, not because people changed their minds, but because I changed the timing. In this season, I am not only opening external doors, I am opening a door within you, a door leading to healthy confidence, unshakable steadiness, and a faith no longer pulled back and forth by fleeting emotions. You will find yourself more decisive yet not rushed, stronger yet not hardened, gentler yet not fragile. These things are not the product of self-improvement. They are the result of the invisible surgery I have performed within your soul, removing layered fears and replacing them with a stability rooted in me. This is why, when the door opens, you will enter without trembling as before. You have been prepared. The time of fulfillment does not always arrive with noise. Sometimes it arrives with a peace so deep you do not immediately realize it is breakthrough, because true blessing does not cause confusion, does not provoke chaos, does not stir fear. True blessing comes like the breath of the Holy Spirit filling a room quietly, like a river flowing steadily and unforced, like morning light spreading without anyone needing to watch it happen. You will not need to fight for it. You will simply receive it. I do not teach you to struggle for what I have already ordained. I teach you to be still and witness my salvation. Remember the years you strained to prove your worth, the days you were exhausted from trying to fix everything by your own strength, the nights you wondered what you had done wrong for blessing to remain beyond your reach. But now, I want you to know that the season of striving has ended. The season of carrying everything with bare hands is over. The season of racing against lack has been closed. You are no longer in a time of testing, you are stepping into a time of recompense. Not recompense as the world understands it, but heavenly recompense, wholeness, restoration, rebuilding, and fulfillment. My beloved child, I also want to gently warn you that in the season of fulfillment, the enemy will attempt to pull your heart back into old fears, not through storms, but through breezes of doubt, not through loud attacks, but through whispers thin as mist. What if you're imagining this? What if this isn't real? What if you can't keep it? I want you to recognize that these voices do not come from me. You do not need to fight them with anxiety. You only need to remind yourself that I am the one who promises, and I am the one who performs. It is not you who hold the blessing, I hold it. It is not you who guard the door, I stand at the threshold. It is not you who uphold the future, I write it. Fulfillment in this season will not appear in just one area, but will spread like light from a lamp, radiating into wider circles. I will begin with small things to strengthen your heart, and then I will lead you into larger things to expand your vision. You will see alignment coming from directions you never expected. You will hear words of opening from people you have never met. You will feel winds of favor blowing into places you once believed would never shift. And you will understand that this is not a coincidence, this is my hand. Above all, I want you to enter this time of fulfillment with a tender heart, one free from pride, free from fear, free from the old shields you once used to protect yourself from pain. I want you to step in like a child who trusts their father with no guardedness, no overthinking, no self-imposed responsibility beyond your strength. For this fulfillment is not given to hard, stony hearts, but to hearts ready to receive, not through logic, but through surrender. My child, I am bringing you into a moment where you will sense me so near that my breath feels as though it rests upon your shoulder, a moment where prayers no longer wait for years, but are answered within a few steps, a moment where what you thought was coincidence reveals itself as divine orchestration, a moment where new life flows into every corner of your existence. And I want you to know that you do not walk into it alone. I go with you, leading you, holding you, guarding you. My child, lift your head. The time of fulfillment has opened. My beloved child, when I have opened the door of fulfillment and allowed the light of sacred dawn to touch every corner of your life, I want you to know that I am not stopping at completion. I am accelerating. Acceleration does not mean you run faster. It means I push everything forward at a pace nothing can hinder. You have passed through the season of waiting, the season of testing, the long season of quiet. And now you will enter an entirely new rhythm where what once moved slowly now advances swiftly, where what was once closed opens easily, where what once seemed beyond reach now draws near enough for you to touch without striving. This acceleration does not come from your urgency or effort. It flows from my appointed time. When heaven's timing meets your readiness, every earthly resistance becomes powerless. I want you to know this deeply. No force is strong enough to delay what I decide to accelerate. No past is heavy enough to hold you back when I propel you forward. No word is poisonous enough to choke what I have breathed to life. When I accelerate, you do not need to run. You simply need to hold your position and allow the wind of my spirit to carry you in the direction I have opened. You will notice this acceleration first in your mind and soul, where things that once caused hesitation, confusion, and fear will lose their grip. You will make decisions faster, not because of impulsiveness, but because your heart is no longer divided by conflicting voices. You will act more decisively not because of haste, but because you have learned to recognize my voice without interference from old echoes. You will walk with greater confidence not from pride, but because the peace I have placed within you makes every step as steady as Moses, walking the desert with a staff empowered by my hand. Acceleration will also touch the areas you once thought would take a long time. What you expected in a few years may arrive within months. What you assumed belonged to another season may unfold in this very one. What you believed was permanently closed may shift with a single whisper in your spirit. You will witness chains of events unfolding seamlessly, not chaotic, not forced, not frantic, but as if an invisible hand arranges every piece perfectly. So you may know this is not coincidence, not luck, not the skill or strength of your own effort. This is my hand accelerating what I have ordained for you. You will also see this acceleration in the relationships I bring. The people meant for your journey will appear quickly, as though they had been standing behind the door, waiting for my tap. Those who do not belong to your future will depart quietly, without conflict, without drama, like a leaf falling in its season. You will find yourself no longer trying to hold on to what no longer belongs, and no longer pulling toward what I have not yet ordained. The connections of this season are heavenly connections, and heavenly connections always carry peace. I do not accelerate to exhaust you. I accelerate so you may clearly see that you were never the one accomplishing anything by yourself. There will be moments when you have to pause, breathe, look around and ask, how did all of this happen so quickly? And I will whisper, because you were ready, and because my appointed time has come. The acceleration of heaven is nothing like the haste of the world. It does not make you panic, does not make you anxious, does not make you frantic. It arrives with stillness, certainty, and harmony. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, receiving the right words, hearing the right prompting at the right hour. This is the sign of divine acceleration. I know that part of you may fear when things move too quickly, because old wounds once taught you to fear loss, fear failure, fear your inability to hold good things. But I want you to remember what I have taught you. You do not hold the blessing I do. You do not guard the door. I stand at the threshold. You are not the force that pushes forward. I am the wind. Your task is simply to follow, not to strain. The burdens that do not belong to you will become too heavy to carry, because I do not accelerate in order to drag along what has outlived its season. Old fears will go out of tune. Old habits will drain you more quickly. Old cycles will no longer fit. Do not try to keep them. They are merely the luggage of a season you have already left behind. Acceleration requires lightness, and you will feel as though I am removing layer after layer from your shoulders, not by force, but by liberation. Remember, acceleration does not lift you away from me. It draws you closer. For if I propel you forward without you staying near me, you will not know how to handle what I give. But if you remain close, intimate in prayer, soft in hearing my voice, then, even as you step into things far greater than what you once imagined, you will not be swept into the vortex of competition, pressure, or fear of losing. You will walk as one who knows the source of their strength. In this acceleration, I want you to prepare your heart to receive what I am about to do with a deep rest, not a rest that comes from favorable circumstances, but a rest that comes from knowing you are moving in the rhythm of heaven. You do not need to push the door opens. You do not need to chase, what I appoint will come. You do not need to worry that you are too slow. You are at the exact pace I desire, what others spend a lifetime striving to reach. You will see come to you with ease, not because you are more special than they, but because I have prepared you for this moment. Divine acceleration is not a reward, it is alignment between my will and your steps. When the two meet, nothing can hold you back. My child, open your heart. The time of fulfillment has opened, and acceleration has begun. My beloved child, after you have heard all that I have spoken along this long journey, after you have walked from the depths of sorrow to the valleys of healing, from testing to strengthening, from the unveiling of inheritance to fulfillment and divine acceleration, now I want to guide you to the deepest layer, the layer of my presence. For everything I have done, every word I have spoken, every season you have endured, every door that has opened or will open, leads to one central truth: I am with you. The deepest reality of my kingdom is not blessing, not calling, not fulfillment, it is me. And the most precious gift is my communion with you. When you understand this, you will no longer fear losing anything, because you know the most precious thing cannot be taken, my presence. You will not fear closed doors, because you know I am inside the ones that open. You will no longer worry about the future, because you know I already stand in every day ahead of you. The true purpose of every journey is not to reach a destination, but to walk with me. My child, I want you to remember that in the days you were crushed, in the nights you cried alone, in the seasons when you felt your soul had dried up, it was then that I was closest. When you felt my silence, it was not because I was distant, but because I was doing a work so deep within you that words could not explain it. When you felt forgotten, you were actually being protected from things you were not yet ready to face. When you saw doors close, it was not punishment, it was my embrace shielding you so nothing outside my will could touch you. And now, As I lead you to the final stretch of this journey, I want you to look back and see that not one step was wasted, even the ones you thought were detours. Not one tear was ignored, they watered the seeds you now see sprouting. Not one whispered prayer was forgotten, they were stored in the treasury of heaven. And at the right time, I answered so you would know you were never unheard. Not one season of pain was unnecessary, each carved into you a wisdom, a depth, a discernment that no other lesson could give. All of it prepared you for this place where you are not merely a receiver, but a carrier, not merely a survivor, but one who is sent, not merely the weak lifted up, but the strong established in peace. My child, I want to speak to you about the stillness I am placing within your soul. This is not the stillness of emptiness, but the stillness of one who knows they are held. It is like a gentle breeze moving across a field after the rain, quiet, yet filled with life. It is like the early light slipping softly through a thatched roof, not blinding, yet enough to awaken an entire forest. It is like the sound of my footsteps beside you, not thundering like mountains shifting, but tender, like an eternal affirmation, I am here. When you learn to live in this stillness, you will no longer be shaken by the noise of the world, no longer pulled by comparison, no longer stirred by meaningless waves. You will stand as one who has found their foundation in the unshakable rock. When you learn to live in my presence, you will understand why I led you through the circles of testing in the past. Not to wound you, but to deepen you. Not to break you, but to strengthen you. Not to remove your weakness, but to turn that very weakness into the place where my power is revealed. For only when you have walked through places where no one held your hand could you learn to place your hand in mine without hesitation. Only when every human support was gone could you know that I alone am your rock. Only when you walked through darkness could you understand the worth of the light I laid before you. Child, the season you are entering is no longer a season of running, no longer a season of solitary recovery, no longer a season of rising from ruins. This is the season of inner freedom, where you are not only freed from outward chains, but from the invisible chains within old memories that once tied your soul, wrong conclusions that once scarred your mind, emotions that once convinced you you were small and fragile. Now you will enter each day as someone set free, free from fear, free from self-doubt, free from the burden of proving yourself, free from the heaviness of responsibilities you once carried alone. For I want you to remember you were never called to carry this life in your own strength. My beloved child, I also want you to learn a great truth. It is not blessing that makes you safe. It is remaining in me that makes you safe. Blessings can change. My presence does not. Doors may open or close. I am still there. Seasons may shift. I do not change. What you see as failure today may become victory tomorrow. But my nearness is not seasonal, it is eternal. This is what I want you to hold tightly as you step into new territories. Nothing you achieve will ever be safer than my presence. I want you to know that the journey does not end here. The words I have spoken to you are only the opening chapter of what I want to continue writing in your life. But unlike before, when you walked in confusion, when you feared choosing wrongly, when you grew weary because you could not understand the meaning, now you will walk with the clarity I place within your heart. You will know when I speak. You will know when I am silent. You will know when I lead. You will know when I stop. You will no longer live by the rhythm of fear, but by the rhythm of my presence. I close this long word with one truth I want you to keep. For life you never walk alone. Not when you succeed. Not when you fail. Not when you understand. Not when you are confused. Not when you are strong. not when you are weak, not when you rejoice, not when you grieve, not when you see the path, not when you walk in darkness, not in the valley, not on the mountaintop, not when you have everything, not when you have nothing. In every season, every day, every hour, every breath I am with you. This is the end of this long message, but it is not the end of our journey, for I will continue to speak, continue to guide, continue to love, continue to shape, continue to hold your hand. You need only one thing: remain in me. When you remain in me, you will see every word I have spoken come true, without lacking a single promise. My child, rest. The old journey has closed. The new season has opened. And I, the one who loves you, keeps you, calls you, and chooses you, am still here. As I was from the beginning, as I have been through every step, and as I will be forevermore. Thank you for listening to today's message. Please click subscribe and turn on the notification bell so we can continue receiving the living words together, building an unshakable faith and walking in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.